How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another YouTube video. There's a mindset shift that has allowed me to build multiple different $1 million a year or more businesses, have, months as big as $300,000 in total sales, and help two of my students breach an 8-figure a year level in their businesses, and just continue season after season to, do well, sell more products, serve more clients with my coaching and consulting programs in the various different niches that I've done that in. And today what I wanted to do is really just talk to you about what this mindset really is. And I'll show you this, just today alone, you can see that we have, 30 sales meetings on the calendar for one of our offers. Today very well should be anywhere from $7,000 on the absolute low end to on the higher end $12,000 or $13,000 sales day for one of my companies. That's a slightly lower ticket offer, and I've been documenting growing that business on this channel. And then in my other business, I've got anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 coming in today, maybe $7,000 coming in today. And I just think, look, people really overcomplicate business. Here's what I want you to think about. And the mindset, the core of the mindset is really this. And I want to make sure that I don't bury the point of this video behind a bunch of context. But I think it's important that you get the context so that you can understand the value of what I'm really trying to teach you. Because I think if I'd had this mindset back in the day, back when I was just getting started with business, I do think my efforts would have compounded better even today. Okay, so I'll tell you what, it's super simple. And it came from studying Warren Buffett, really, and his decision-making criteria. So what is the mindset? Well, it's instead of thinking like a business owner, it's thinking like an investor. Okay, so when you build businesses or when you build projects, cash flowing projects, which are businesses basically, what you're doing is, before you even start, what you're trying to do is decipher which opportunities are going to give you the most yield for your capital and time. That's it. What will give me the most yield for my capital and for my time? And that's basically the only big question that Warren would ask before he would invest into a company. And, this method of thinking really has enabled me to build businesses that rapidly produce cash flow and have great products behind them. Because obviously, if you don't have an amazing product and you don't drive an amazing outcome for your clients, then you're not going to keep the money you're making, right? So obviously, inevitably, being money hungry, wanting to make a bunch of money means that you're going to have great products, because without a great product, you're not going to make a bunch of money. So it makes me have a great product, makes me have great marketing, great sales, because my goal is to be a great investor, is to find ways to turn a dollar into 2 or 3 over and over again, and to use my time with as much leverage as possible while I'm working, especially because now I have a family and I have a kid. My first round, of really building big businesses, I was single, so I was just a bachelor. So I could do anything and everything under the sun, but that actually capped me because I never was forced through constraint to expand my horizons outside of what I could do in a given day and what I could do in a given month, right? So I did everything. I did all the software. I did everything. I did sales calls, coaching calls. I did all kinds of stuff in my business. So what I want you to think about is building your businesses as if they are an investment vehicle, and then being as rigid and as meticulous in your thinking as a hedge fund manager with billions in their portfolio managed for clients, when you are looking at the viability, the economic viability of your own business. Because as a business owner, what you're really doing is building your investment vehicle. That's really what you're doing. You're not building a business. Don't think about this as we have some money come in and we have some money go out every month and it's just cycling money. That's pointless. Why would you do that? Why would you make $200,000 just to spend $200,000 every month in expenses and then keep nothing? The goal of your business is to be an investment vehicle. And this mindset is so crucial for the students of mine that I've gotten to that, $500,000 liquid level or the $1 million liquid level. It's to the point where once they start understand, there's a Warren Buffett biography. I'm going to leave the Amazon link in the description. It's not an affiliate link, okay? I won't make any money off of this. I want you to read it. And I want you to understand the power of compounding his money and how you actually have the ability to maybe not get into the hundreds of millions with this particular industry, coaching, consulting, etc., but you can very easily get into the multiple millions, maybe even 8-figure level of cash net worth using coaching and consulting businesses as a vehicle. And I want you to think about, as you read this book, how do I design my businesses to meet the criteria that Warren Buffett would pick his businesses with, which one criteria was the stickiness of the product, the longevity of the product, okay? It was the manufacturing of the product, how scalable was the manufacturing. It was the quality of the leadership in the company. It was the cash flow. How much cash did they have coming in? How much did they have going out? What were their cash reserves? How were their cash reserves growing year after year? These were the decisions these are the sorts of things that he would look at. But in our industry, people just tend to look at how full is your calendar and how much cash you make in that day, that month, that week, right? They don't think about these bigger things. And that's why, there's so many fly-by-night coaches. And that's why I've been able to last, granted with some challenging years, mostly for personal reasons, not necessarily for business reasons. I've been able to manage, 6 years of doing really, really well, kind of in my own little corner here in the industry. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to splice over to a Kaizen mastermind group call that I had with my clients. One of my clients who's gone on to do extremely well for himself is asking me, hey, should I buy a house in cash or should I continue to see my business as an investment vehicle? And I'm just kind of going on a bit of a rant on this particular topic. So enjoy that. I'm going to go into exactly how I view my business as an investment vehicle, how you can design your business to be an investment vehicle, how the best investment vehicle until you're sitting on a couple $1 million liquid in cash is designing your own cash flow business like a coaching or consulting business. And I just hope that you enjoy that video and stick around for the whole thing because it's really going to be very enlightening, and it's what inspired this video as we had that call. If you're interested in the Kaizen Mastermind, you can book a call with myself. There won't be a closer, won't be a salesperson on the other side. It's actually me taking these calls. Links in the description to learn more about that mastermind. It's all about getting to $100,000 to $500,000 a month, maybe more, with your coaching or consulting business at a 50 to 60%, maybe 80% profit margin, depending on the traffic channel. Check it out. Enjoy this clip. We're spending $1,000 a day. Planning to increase that in February. Now that we've got our second closer, who's my brother. He's training great. He had a $5,800 day 2 days ago. He's great. So we're gonna bring that up to probably $1,800 a day in February.
Mm-hmm.
And then right now with the DM ads, I think it's just like $200 a day, maybe $150 a day. Let me check actually, just to make sure I have the right number here for you guys. It is $250 a day.
No, I've kind of slowly increases the spend, and it's about at $22K a month at the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm getting about almost a 4x ROAS.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to break through that ceiling of, hey, not being afraid of increasing ad spend. So I felt like you do it quite well. Like you don't really care about, I was looking at how much I've spent on coaching in the past year. It was about whatever the amount is. I was thinking more, let's focus more on testing our ad spend this year than more investing into coaching. Because at this point, when you know ads and if you know how to hire a closer, then why the hell do you need another coach? So what my question is how do you get over the fear of, hey, increasing ad spend for another $200 a day or whatever the case is? Do you not have the apprehension, or do you kind of look at it as, I'm just going to make it back?
I look at it as like, worst case, I'm going to break even and learn a lot. I've never lost money on ads in the grand scheme, and I just see it as like, sorry, I'm a little distracted. Zoom says this meeting's about to end for some reason. So frustrating. Basically, you're just like, hey, I'm like afraid of raising spend, right? Like trying to break through some of those little hurdles of just like raising it out.
To be honest, the mindset that I've kind of taken now is I'm looking at it as coaching. Like I've just invested into a coaching program and I'm just learning one new skill of the apprehension that I've always had is hiring a closer and allocating ad spend to them. Because that definitely is a mental block for me. For myself, I do have a bit of confidence that I can definitely close and get a bit of cash back, but it's more the closer part. I have trained this closer, and the plan is that the new offer that I've started is at $50 a day. for the accounting space, and we've got one booked call
Mm-hmm.
for tomorrow, actually. So it's
Mm-hmm.
200 per booked call at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully the plan is I'll take 5 or 6 for the new offer, record solid quality calls, create a solid structure for the new offer, and then hand it over to the new closer and keep increasing the spend for this offer and that offer by 20% every 3 or 4 days
Yeah.
until the other closer is packed out. And once I learn the skill of packing out their calendar and getting a solid ROAS, then I feel like it's just, get another closer and just repeat the process over and over again.
I think it sounds almost like you're answering your own question. You know what I mean? I feel
Yeah,
like,
I was kind of validating it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I hear that. And sometimes you need that. There really is, the only risk I think you can take on when you have a profitable system is not pushing it. Because it's
Really.
like, honestly, like for me, it's like once you're making money, it's like, how far can this go? Like that's the next question. Like, if you're here to make a lot of money and build wealth, if you want to have a couple million liquid, have a good investment portfolio, and do well for yourself financially, it's like, and you have to think like an investor. You
Mhm.
know, you really have to think like an investor. Like one of my favorite biographies is there's actually multiple biographies. I've read like two, I think now, like so many of them, but Warren Buffett biographies are just really cool to me. It would just always be just like it's just a what can I put in and what can I get out conversation. That's it. And it's just that over and over again. And what's beautiful about owning our businesses is we can create the systems that create our own return. Warren he couldn't influence the systems that created the return. He just had to be a good judge of which systems would create a good return long term for him. And he looked at things like just little competitive edges that would ultimately take over the market. Like, for example, like Coca-Cola versus Pepsi. Like one of his biggest decisions was Coca-Cola versus Pepsi. And Coca-Cola, they just manufactured cheaper. This is it. They just made their soda cheaper, like by a factor of like 3%, 4%. They had little efficiencies. And he saw that and
Yeah.
he's like, I think Coca-Cola is the place to park some money because that's a big advantage over the span of a decade or two. So I just really think like I just think that this industry is like very emotional, honestly. And I think that people are they're so personally tied to their business's results that they can't just like see it as like a inputs to outputs system. And I can speak for myself, like I've begun to make way more money after I really moved on from just the emotional highs and lows and like all that, like I think I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna make content to get Kaizen clients and I'm gonna run ads to build KCCA. And I'm gonna get a good return. I'm just gonna show up every day and just make one or two good decisions every day and just let that compound. And so
Mhm.
kind of speaking to the mindset of it, like if you're turning a dollar into four, I was just saying this before you hopped on the call actually, a lot of people get stuck beneath 6 figures a month or 50 grand a month or so because they're trying to have high margins. It's like 80% margins on 50 grand sounds great until you realize that it's actually like way more peaceful and way easier. And you work way less to do like 200 to 300 grand a month at like a 35 or 40% margin. And that's 100 grand a month profit, you know? And the difference between 50 and 300 is you have the revenue to bring in a talent. And that's where a lot of your margin goes. And a talent holds the business together for you. So you're working way less. You're working harder up here though. You know, you're having to just make better decisions. So you move from getting paid for how hard you work and how well you sell and how well you deliver into like the quality of your decisions, particularly once you get across the chasm of having like good people on your team. You
So
know,
your mindset right now is just, hey, just keep increasing the spend. And
yeah,
what's the barrier right now? Like that's what I was asking myself yesterday. What the hell is stopping me? I have a lot of cash that I'm sitting on. There's no limitation. So why
yeah.
don't I just keep doing it and just really treat this as a coaching program? And just my last question before I have to jump off to an onboarding call. What's the mindset behind, hey, let's break the system? Because I've heard you saying this quite a bit. Why would you want to push to break the system when you have something that is running smoothly already? Won't breaking the system kind of make you have to start from scratch again and build a new system or
No,
restart the
I don't.
same
I don't. I
system?
don't mean destroy the system. I just mean stress test it. You know, when you increase, like the question you should be asking yourself all the time is like, what's stopping me from tripling my ad spend right now? You work backwards from that question all the time. And so for me, it's honestly just like, uh, I just need to, I need to do more interviews and find more people. You know,
Hmm.
and I probably need to solidify the current team a little bit. I'd say the current team's performing at like 70 to 80% how I'd like them to perform. Um, Half of that is like my main closer is shutting down his other business to do this, and so I'm just kind of waiting for him to do that. And then the other one is like same with my brother actually. He has a landscape business, and it's snowing buckets out here, so he's been plowing driveways. And it's like, but the day he did 580, he made 580 bucks, and that is something clicked for him. He's like, oh shoot, So just kind of just letting my team come to the realization that this is a great offer and a great business to work in, because I'd say they're like almost all the way bought in. The setters are all the way there. My brother and the other closer, they've kind of got other things that they're juggling and stuff. And so if by February they're not all in, I'm gonna have those conversations and be like, look, I need people who are like all in on this. You can have other things, but not if you're having to move around calls and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's like my bottleneck is that. And we're still a great cash return and our clients love it and great team and everything. But structurally, if I can't see the calendar and just know that that's what's happening today, then there's something wrong. So that's like my bottleneck for KCCA,
Yeah.
and then
No, great.
also I'm trying to find a way to get better returns than 3x even. Like, can I get better than 3x returns at scale? That's why I'm testing the DM thing. Maybe
Hmm.
even 4 or
No,
5x.
this mindset is great. Like how you said, what's stopping me from 3xing my spend?
Yeah.
Um, and what did you say before? Just completely slipped out of my mind. The key idea that you gave before.
Mm, Thinking like an investor?
Yeah, that's it. Think like an investor.
Yeah.
Because I'm really gonna think about this stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's the cool thing about running a business is you're designing your own investment vehicle. But you think about it like that, it kind of changes like the way that you process things, I've found.
I'm thinking of buying a house in cash
Mm-hmm.
just to kind of have something there and
Mm-hmm.
subconsciously to know that hey, I can really go far with what I
Mm-hmm.
have right now, really push the limits, and subconsciously know that I won't go broke and completely go back to zero again. It's
Mm-hmm.
just gonna get a bit of rental stuff. I have a very good personal assistant who's gonna take care of the tenants, whatever the case is. I don't know. I was just kind of running it by you. What do you think?
I mean, I just wouldn't, I wouldn't be looking at anything until you feel like you've maxed out what what you're building with your business, really. Um,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, I agree with Ahmed. Business is a better investment. Like, there's, like, I don't have anything anywhere. I mean, I'm dollar cost averaging Bitcoin. That's it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because I just think that you know, I could go on a whole rant about cryptocurrencies and stuff, but
Yeah.
that's it, though. I just don't think about it. I just think about my business and because it's like, there's a really cool quote from Jim Rohn, and he was like, um, basically saying like a big part of why people don't get $1 million liquid is like the first thing they do is just invest it and just chill. And it's like that's probably why the Lord sees that they don't get it. It's like you have to be growing it, and you have to love growing it. So for me, it's like this idea of like what can I do to pacify my life is not attractive to me. Yeah. Well, clearly he stopped valuing the input and he left, but there you go. Yeah. But I don't know, does that make sense? Like to everybody else too? Like
Yeah.
kind
He
of that
said he got to go
mindset?
to onboarding call, but
Yeah,
yeah.
well, see, that's why he's not going to break 50.
Mm.
Honestly, like it's just he's just not like people get obsessed with cash returns on ads and making it like 4 or 5x, and they don't like. I saw this Wall Street guy talking about it in terms of like using leverage to create stock buys and stuff. And he's like, remember, like 50% of $1,000 is $500. 10% of 100,000 is 10,000. You know, and it's like people are obsessed with using their own money to do 1,000 to 500. I'm not telling you guys to use leverage to buy stocks, but he was just making a case as to like people get obsessed with margins, whereas the people who really do really well get obsessed with like scalability of the system, you know? And it's like that's the difference. And you can create an amazing business that's like high margins, like 70, 80%, be super involved yourself, and that's great and all. But honestly, guys, like KCCA, 100 grand a month profit, it's not gonna be hard. Couple closers, you know, and it's like once you can get above a revenue ceiling where you can afford great talent, that's when things get really easy. So yeah, just take your time to design a system that can really scale. Like if I tripled my ad spend right now, what's the next bottleneck? Solve it and then bring it up, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Why would you put your money in anything else if you get a 300% return month over
Yeah.
month?
Yeah. And it's
Like
so
until then.
fun too. Gosh, it's just so fun. It's just nothing's like it. Nothing even comes close to how cool it is to like coach people on stuff you like, you know? So yeah. I mean, I think it's important that we keep that perspective too, you know? It's such a great business. Yeah. But